Yo, have you ever heard the term ETF and wondered what it actually means? Maybe you've heard things like QQQ, SPY all over news sources, but really just didn't know what they were talking about. Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what an ETF is in simple terms. Then I'm going to give you 3 that you should be invested in. So listen, I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right into the video. All right, so first things first, what exactly is an ETF? So by definition, an ETF is an investment fund that holds multiple underlying assets. So the best and the simplest way to think of it is think of an ETF as a basket of a bunch of different stocks all in one investment. So instead of having to pick and choose between investing in individual companies one by one, investing in an ETF gives you the ability to invest in hundreds of different companies all in one go. And one of the most convenient parts about it is that it trades just like your regular stock on the stock market, so it makes it really easy to buy and sell them. And the main benefit by far is instant diversification. And anybody that knows a thing or two about stocks and investing knows that investing 101, diversification, aka not putting all your investment eggs into one basket, or in this case, not putting all your money into one company. Instead of betting all your money into one single company, you're spreading your risk among many different ones. The thought behind this too is that in the case scenario that maybe one of your stocks or maybe a couple of them in your portfolio aren't doing too well, or let's say they're just going down, all of the other stocks that you're invested in keep all of your investments as a whole afloat. And it also helps out a ton as far as not losing your mind or completely freaking out when some of the stocks you own may be completely nosediving into the red. And let me just be honest, it's gonna happen, so just prepare for it as an investor. All right, so now for the fun part, let's get into some ETFs that you as an investor should be investing in. So the first one I got here for you guys is VOO, which is a Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, which tracks the S&P 500 index by investing in the top 500 largest publicly traded US companies. That means that when you invest in a VOO, you're basically investing in these 500 companies all in one go yourself. Some of the top holdings in the VOO are companies like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, all big name companies that we all hear about on a daily basis and that are very common. So investing in VOO is really good if you just want some broad exposure to the US stock market as a whole, and if you just want some long-term steady growth. And the next ETF I got here for you guys is the QQQ, the Invesco QQQ Trust that tracks the NASDAQ 100 index. Now this ETF is really good for all my tech people out there because this one heavily leads towards tech companies. Some of the biggest names that are in this ETF right here are companies like Nvidia, Google, Tesla, again, more companies that we hear about on a daily basis, very popular ones, but as you notice, these ones are primarily tech. So if you're somebody that believes in the future of technology, which we all should, considering that AI is taking over the world right now, QQQ gives you some exposure to some of the world's most innovative companies out there. And last but certainly not least on the list is the SPY, which is another S&P 500 tracking index fund, and it actually is the first ever US created ETF that was made back in 1993. Quick little interesting fun fact for you guys. Some of the biggest companies in the SPY index are companies like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, ones that we already mentioned before, because again, this one is also an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. But one difference is that the SPY is one of the most traded ETFs out there that's used by both big institutions and also the everyday investor like you and myself. So as a quick recap, the VOO and the SPY both are 2 ETFs that give you a bunch of access to companies that are in the S&P 500 index. And the QQQ on the other hand is one that tracks the NASDAQ 100, which is heavily geared towards tech stocks. And ETFs are a very simple way to invest in many different companies without having to try and pick through a bunch of different winners and losers. If you want more breakdowns just like this on investing made more simple, make sure you subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more videos.